think, was it even a 7D then? I don't even know. Probably wasn't, like with a ring light, shoulder rig. That was the first video I ever shot. And I remember looking back at it and thinking, this is trash.
Summer is my first short film.
But you have to start somewhere, like, you know what I mean? But yeah, that was my first video.
Welcome to another episode of In Conversation With. We have Cordell Johnson with us, director DOP. I really want to speak to you because one of our guys knows you, and he said you need to speak to Cordell. And I remember looking at your stuff, and I was like, this guy, I see myself a little bit in you because you do so much.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little bit of a breakdown or just a little bit of the work that you've done? Because you work with quite a few people.
I don't even know where to start. I guess I'll kind of jump. So I worked on that TV, worked on Big Brother, Take Me Out, those type of shows. The Rap Game, I actually directed on the Rap Game Series T. I had a creative agency. I ran that for 2 years. I ran a studio for like 6 to 8 months. I work in branded content, online content, documentaries, sports, music. I've toured with Burna Boy for about 2.5, maybe 3 years. Done so many different things, workshops, we do workshops as well. I teach young people, give them opportunities. It's like,
That's the thing I really like, because there's so many people I've been speaking to recently who do amazing stuff. They've got to a really cool space in their career, but there's always this kind of desire to give back, which I think is amazing, because I saw you doing like workshops as well, like you mentioned, helping to upskill young people into the industry, because as you know, it's really difficult to kind of navigate that. What was the kind of driver? Because obviously you don't have to do it, right? Because someone on your own career and actually making sure that you're moving up to the next level is tedious and hard as it is. What was that kind of feeling and that drive to actually say, you know what, let me help open doors to other people?
So, I think it was just like the difficulty. Do you know what? I say difficulty. The difficulty that I can recognize in trying to get into the industry and just knowing how to navigate. For me, I'm determined, so I'll find a way. I always have a barrel around 3, whatever. I'll find a way. But I feel like it's necessary to show the younger generation how to navigate that from early on, because there's so many things where I feel like when you're trying to get into the industry, there's so many roadblocks that come ahead. And if you're not prepared to go through that or know how to navigate, it's easy to give up.
Yeah.
And I've seen loads of people give up. There's so many people that I've filmed with or started with, and now they just have like a normal job, which is fine if that's what you want to do. But I know deep within their heart, that's not what they wanted to do, but they just didn't have the resilience to continue. Yeah. So it's like showing young people that it can help eradicate that. Yeah, you know what I mean? And also stop them from being exploited, because it's so easy to be talented at a young age. Yeah, and then someone gives you an opportunity, but then when you don't have experience, you don't know what that opportunity is actually worth. Like, you need to even like showing young people how to do that and the things to look at. Just even small things like etiquette, like how to be on set and be around people, like how to behave. Like it's just, I don't know, man. Like it's just part of me, I think.
I just think it's amazing because it's so true. Because I used to lecture at the University of Bedfordshire on the film media course. And there's so much that they taught about filmmaking, TV and so forth, but in terms of how to navigate, how to understand office politics, negotiate contracts, being on set, is such a huge part of that. Because when I'm crewing up for a production or a project, it's always thinking about who do I want to work with, and it's always like, do I get along with that person? Like, what's the energy they bring to the set? What's their work ethic on the set? Do they know what to do? Because as a producer, I'm looking for people who's going to make my life easier, right? Being able to produce is a hard job, and you're trying to juggle so many plates. So then you're looking for people who can actually help take that pressure off you. Yeah. And so knowing how to be on the set is a huge part of that. And I think it's something that's always kind of missed up. So it's amazing that you sort of like had in your mind to help kind of plug that gap. Is there a certain kind of Is it just young people in general, or is there a certain demographic that you're kind of focused on with your work?
I've never really, that's a good question. I've never really been focused on a demographic, to be honest with you, because when we were doing workshops, I've had people where Jama is 16 up until the age of 50 something.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? So it's not really, I guess, I don't target anybody, to be honest with you. People come to me, they need help. I do the bird call for the workshops, whoever comes in, comes in.
And do you know what that's actually pretty cool? Because I know we always talk about sort of blockers for young Black creatives, but there's also that blockers for older creatives.
100%.
Because there's so many projects out there and programs out there. Us ourselves as Beat Street do a lot of stuff for young people, but for like people coming into the career later on, there doesn't seem to be as much there. What kind of stuff do you do, like for the workshops that you have?
There are a range of things, you know. So some things that I'm specifically like experienced in, like film and like, I guess, ideation development, getting something from the early stages, the end product. But then I also tailor like designed courses, but I don't really know that much. I started off as a graphic designer. I don't know that much now. So I'll design the course, learn what I want, or figure out what I want the people to learn.
Yeah.
And then hire the people to come in.
Yeah.
That can teach, that are in places, that are working with these big clients. So anything from producing, we've done designing, content creation. Yeah, one as well. So we had a content creator come in and kind of like explain his process, how he got into it with his family, like the things they focused on, and then real things as well, like not forcing their children to do things. Like, as long as they're having fun, if they do 10 takes and it doesn't work, we just go with the last one that was the best. Like things, small things like that. So content creation. What else have we done as well? We did like some graphic tea making as well. T-shirt pressing. We've done so many, I can't even remember all of them. We've done phone content creation and then using apps and stuff to make it look professional. Yeah, so
I love that element of what you do, because I think one of the biggest kind of blockers for people is access, right? And we have these conversations about budgets, like if somebody bring like a creative intern conversation, it's like, how much did it cost? I'm like, how did you get that camera? How do you get financing? But there's always ways around of kind of finding the more affordable way to actually create something at high quality as well. Yeah. So that's a really cool element of what you sort of added into your courses. I always, when I speak to someone, can pinpoint what their kind of spark is. So like, what was their initial inspiration for getting into something? But when I look at what you do, it's harder. Reason, and it's not even a bad thing. I mean, it's actually really fascinating because it's like your involvement in so many things. So you worked with, like, your promo stuff with like Jama. You've done stuff with Craig David. You've also done theatre. Like you've done like trailers of theatres and stuff like that, music videos. What was the first thing that kind of sparked that for you? Like, this is like when you thought, I'm going to pick up a camera, what was that kind of vision that you had initially?
What inspired me or what?
Yeah, so like so for me, when the thing that inspired me to get into filmmaking was watching films. And I always say that watching Denzel Washington film, like it's all stuff like glory and stuff like that I want to make. It's something that makes people cry. What was that for you?
2 major films I can remember. So, and I'm gonna bloody forget his name here. The director, Hype Williams. So
yeah,
looking at Hype Williams' music videos, I remember from young being able to identify whether I saw his name or not on that video. It's the day shows. It's a Hype Williams video.
Yeah,
yeah, and at the slides, the creativity that brought, like the whole Janet Jackson and Busta Rhymes, like that. That liquid opening, like the glass. I'll never forget, there's a glass on the table, the glass drops, and then he comes out in this little liquid thing like from there, and he takes that. The visuals were so unique and iconic. I was like, I want to make something like that. And then the second thing I can remember is something so small, you know. You know when the movie started, the Universal soundtrack comes on. I remember when I was younger, my grandma gave me £50 for my birthday. You know, them days, like we had the Argos cat.
Yes.
So we went through the Argos cat up. What can I get with this £50? And then I saw surround sound. So I bought a surround sound for Marine just to make it vibey. And then what was out at the time? You had T Fast, T Furious.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember putting that in there. You see when it started.
Yeah.
I was like, this sounds sick. And then, like, the music from the film comes straight, boom, like that feeling of sitting in the middle of the surround sound. I was like, yeah, I want to create something that could give somebody this feeling in their house one day. Like, that's two significant things that I can remember that made me get to film.
So was it the music video part that came first, or was it the film?
The music video part, yeah, most definitely.
That's really cool. So what was your first music video that you kind of done?
The first music video I did, early stages. I did a freestyle for my partner's cousin, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just like in a car park down the road from my house, and then we shot outside the house. And I think it was a 7D. I think, was it even a 7D then? I don't even know. Probably wasn't, like with a ring light. Yeah, showed him that. That was the first video I ever shot. And I remember looking back at it and thinking, this is trash.
Summer's my first short film.
But you have to start somewhere, like, you know what I mean? But yeah, that was my first video.
What was that journey like for you? Because I know now you've kind of created this sort of career for yourself where you were working on some really good stuff and you had a reputation for yourself. What was that journey from creating that first not so great music video to where you are right now? Because I know obviously a huge part of that is determination and just being consistent. But in terms of the actual actionable stuff that you kind of can pinpoint, what was that journey like for you?
It was very experimental, when I would say, and it was a patient one, I would say, because I had to figure out, okay, this is the tools we have available, and this is what other people are creating. How do I bridge the gap?
Yeah.
And as fast as possible. So it was really like, research this. What does that do? Why does the button work like that? How does the lighting work? Like, which comes first? Is it the lighting? Is it the camera? Like, okay, once I have a camera, what lenses can go in this? Like, it was really, like, I just had to experiment with loads of different things in order to like start piecing together how and why, that's what led me to working in TV, because I couldn't get it as fast as I wanted to. So I was like, I need to put myself in a professional environment so I can understand why. Because I'm a rule breaker naturally.
Yep.
I think as a creative, most people are.
I think you'd have to be.
But in order to break the rules, I need to learn what the rules are.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like I just remember just trying things and sometimes things nobody would see it. Like, just put camera, this lights, film myself making a cup of tea. Like, okay, this didn't work. This shot looked really good, but why does it look really good? Oh, standing by the window and there was natural light coming through the window. Okay, cool. So it's just like trying loads of different things. Yeah. And then even trying to network to get to new places so then I could learn new things to track.
I hate the networking part, but it's such an important part.
Yeah. But I mean, like, do you know what? Over the years I've learned, like, through networking, I didn't have to get anything out of anyone. I didn't have to like force myself in a room to speak to 20 people today. Like, I can just kind of just gel, just wait for the right moment. Sometimes you go somewhere and you actually have to do that to set it off. But other places, like, things will just happen naturally. And like looking back, it's harder to recognize that in the moment. But looking back at what I've done and the people I know now, like, what was supposed to happen happened at a moment. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's something that I've actually. And I don't know if it's the kids just get older and again a bit more, I don't know, laid back or stuff. But I always feel what's meant to happen is going to happen. And as long as you're consistent, you're always putting yourself in those spaces, don't know what happened. You can't force anything to happen that's not going to happen. And to be fair, if it needs to be forced, you probably should do it.
Exactly.
What has been the biggest stumbling block for you?
I've had a few. Stumbling blocks. I guess breaking into new spaces can be a big stumbling block in the sense of, like, there's what you do on a day-to-day or throughout, like, a majority of the time, and then where you actually want to go.
Yeah.
Like, and then you realize in some places there's gatekeepers, and then you have the cliquey communities.
Yeah.
So they only work with the people they know. That's been like a stumbling block for me. In some cases, I always eventually get around it. But it's just like, maybe I'm seen as a stumbling block because I didn't get there as fast as I wanted to, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like, the gatekeepers and the cliquiness, like, definitely can prevent you from like get into a space. But luckily, we're kind of in a space now where you can create that space.
Yeah.
So that's been a stumbling block. early on, that not knowing how to budget things. It was a major stumbling block. You done all this creativity and there's no money in your pocket. That was stumbling block. Then I kind of, as I progressed, not having a correct accountant, stumbling block. So that kind of, I was making this money and it just wasn't making sense. Like where I was spending things and I wasn't keeping track of everything. And it's like money was coming in, money was going up. I had to get around that. And then even just have a company that not actually realizing that I'm not a manager. Like I've never even worked full time in an establishment to even know like how much holiday I'm entitled to. Like, have a problem with this person, I can report it to that person. Like, I've never been in the workplace or working environment like that to even know. So that was a major stumbling block for me because I had to figure that out. Like whilst I was trying to now run a company, which I've never done, manage people, at least minimum 3 to 4 people, which I've never done at one time on a daily basis. Like, because if I don't tell them what to do, they'll just see them in. So that was like a stumbling block. Like, even having to learn about pensions and HR and all of this, it was crazy. Then even like losing clients, major stumbling block when you have an agency, because how am I paying the rent for the office? Like, how am I paying my employees? But when we lost our first major client, that was a huge stumbling block. And then I had to. It worked hard, and I ended up hiring somebody that secured the next client that like stayed everything. You know what I mean? But it's like there's been so many that I've done so many things and achieved so many things. Like I could probably sit here for an hour, 10 years about stumbling.
Do you know what? Like when the reason I ask that as well, because I never see things as like a red line, as it were, in terms of okay, this is the end. Always there's opportunities, right? So, for example, you mentioned about not being in the 9 to 5 before and not understanding what that structure is. I see that as an opportunity because then instead of you can't be prejudiced to how things should run, you can create your own corporate culture on how that runs. In terms of losing clients, and then that sort of makes you pivot to think, how can I then learn to retain clients and what can I do differently? Like you said, like you hired someone who then got another client in that actually secured stuff for you. So one of the themes I get from you is that I don't know if calling you an hustler is an insult or whatever, but it's genuinely not, because it's like you're a solution-based person. And I love that. Because that's the one thing that's so hard to find. It's like you have a problem, okay, I understand it. Okay, how am I going to pivot around this and make this work? And that, from what I'm hearing from like your journey, that seems to be like central to everything that you do.
100%. Like if you can't learn to pivot and adjust, then you will have a red line because you will hit that block. And once you hit the block, what do you do? Give up. Like even if you hit the block, in my head's already you can go under the block, through it, like around it, like something. And you know what I mean? But like without having that mindset, everything's gonna be a major failure to you. You're not gonna want to get back up. But it's like, come on, how many times have you seen like Mike Tyson get into a ring or something like that?
It's so clear.
Knock someone out. He's been knocked out. He still knocked someone out. Like, and like there's always a way to better yourself, to do something. Like,
I always think that sometimes like we're our biggest blockage. And so in terms of like seemingly fame at something or things not going how you want to, we then take it as an indictment of arts as opposed to an opportunity to pivot and actually try something slightly different. One of the many things I liked was that you spoke about creating your own space, right? And so with that, you create your own company. What kind of precipitated that for you to be like, okay, instead of me freelance it, let me create a whole company to employ people and actually create my own agency? What was the driver for that madness?
I've always wanted to do it, you know? Okay, and it's just one of those things where, like, there's having a conversation like this with one of my friends, like, oh, what are you doing? Like, what are you trying to build? And like, yeah, I'm doing this, but eventually I want to have a company. But that's always been something that I wanted to achieve, and I did it. I still did it. But yeah, that was something that I'm just always on my list to do, because even the first business I ever had was a company with 2 of my friends. So, and it's so funny, we always have this conversation maybe every couple of years. Like, I was in the video stuff. One of my other friends is a graphic designer, and the other one does like still does graphic design, but it's more like code, like building websites, that coding type base and UX UI. So we all held like a corner of the company and tried to build it.
Yeah.
So even from then, we were trying to build something, but I didn't quite work out. So it's just something that was always on the cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the theatre stuff, in terms of your involvement in theatre, was that just doing trailers for the theatres, or were you more involved in terms of actual production of theatre?
I know, just the trailers. Yeah.
Was that through your own company in terms of one of the clients, in terms of this content you was making, or was that before?
This was after. So I stopped doing the agency, I think it's about a year ago now.
Okay.
And someone that I was working with in the studio as a photographer, he got a job there. And then they needed some stuff, and then he recommended me. And then I was in the building.
Cool. So with theatre, has that ever been a kind of passion for yours, or was this just a new kind of experience?
That's something I never even contemplated. That's not even a space I looked at or a space that I even thought that potentially would have needed something that I did.
I don't know, that's interesting because I know a lot of creators, well, maybe it's just the circle I run around in, kind of started in that space first and kind of branched out. It's probably usually the most accessible, usually.
Really?
Yeah, but, well, I guess on a more an amateur level.
Yeah.
Because I know theatre can be slightly elitist once you go further up the food chain. But I think on an amateur level, from like you're talking high school, college, and then, you know, kind of doing stuff outside of college as well, it can be a little bit more accessible than actually getting a camera and actually start filming stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting because I always say there's so many different pathways that people get into things. And there's so much crossover. So it's really interesting to hear how that journey happened kind of back into it. You started a music video and then came back to the
Crazy. You know, it's mad. Like, actually, when I was younger, I was actually in stage school.
Oh, wow.
That would potentially could have been a route. Yeah.
See, so that's weird. So, okay, now I'm more confused. So you was in stage school.
Yeah.
And you was completely bypassed theatre and then went to filming.
Yes, and that was like a funny. So I was in stage school when I was like year 10, 11.
Okay.
And then like doing, what were they? Dance and acting.
Mm-hmm.
And then I left, but I couldn't get back into it. Didn't have the money out of that. So I just ended up just going to college and just doing a normal route. So I would have been in front of the camera, gone down that route. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's really cool. So I saw, we had Chuck earlier, Barrel, Ivan. Yeah, I don't know. He's basically was in a short film that's shot last month. And so, yeah. So really recent. So it was actually really cool seeing him, and I've seen him like promoting the first reason, and we shot the trailer to that. And I was watching the videos and I was like, it's really crazy to go and see it. So well done. It was well shot.
And how that even came about, so DK, she wrote a play called Is That You, Yeah? Which is based on 4 teenage girls going to school. Like when they all the way school, it's like bring up a packet in that area and emotions and all that stuff. But then she also did this bit. So then that's how we had it.
That's really cool. Really cool guy. And I think he's one of those sort of characters very soon he's going to blow up because the talent is crazy with that as well. Get a bit personal.
Yeah.
So for me growing up, no one around me was in the industry. Like I didn't have any friends, no family that was in the industry whatsoever. Had no kind of mentors. But there's always this kind of desire in me, which I don't know where it came from, to get into the industry, media industry and stuff like that and make stuff. What was your childhood like on that level? Did you have like family members or friends who were involved in industry? Anyone to actually show you how to even turn on a camera initially?
No, you know. So you know that my godmother's brother works in TV, but I wasn't around him like that in that space. I didn't really know of anybody in the creative scene. The closest person I think I would have associated that would have been my dad, because my dad's a DJ. Like, it had nothing to do with cameras, it's all sound music. So, no, not really, not in terms of not as a listen. When I got a bit older, some of my cousins in East London, I didn't actually know that, like, proper friends with Skepta and all these different type of people. So anytime I was around them, like, I saw it in the scene. But again, that was just like the music set, and cameras and all that stuff. One of his oldest brothers actually did that stuff, but I didn't know at the time. Yeah, so I was like, older, maybe like mid-teens, late teens.
So kind of am kind of destined to do it, really, because you kind of run that scene without being fully aware of kind of the extent of what's going on.
Yeah, maybe you could put it that way. Because yeah, my dad had so many people down like that Bean Man, or picture of like Shabba Ranks as a kid. Yeah, running around. I think my dad took Destiny's Child to East Street Market, actually, I mean. Not East US, don't know. Yeah, but it wasn't like that massive. Yeah, but still.
But still Destiny's Child, but
He's always had me around like celebs, I guess, so maybe. Yeah.
so, because I don't know, like you have, like the guys in Volume, Jordan and Kieran, there just seems to be, I don't know, this kind of character in terms of driving forward with stuff. And I'm a strong believer it doesn't just pop out anywhere. I feel like it's kind of home somewhere. Who was that for you? Who helps kind of instill that kind of determination for you to just drive through stuff?
I don't think it was a he. I think it was more of a situation, you know, like just growing up. I wasn't really around my dad like that. And it was just me and my mum. So it's like this scene that my mum struggle.
Yeah.
And having to go through certain things and having to go to my grandma's like for help and certain things like that. I just stay in my head that this is not going to end me. Yes, I'm going to make sure I do whatever I need to do to make sure this is going to be a setup for me. And I think that happens. And then even growing up, like just being young, got in trouble before, and like, I sat down for a little while. So I was like, even like coming home, it's like, I need to make up for that lost time.
Yeah.
So then again, it's like I tripped this out in Libya. So then like my work, it would just bang. Okay, I've done this. The scene's up there still. What can I do? What am I enjoying? Okay, I like this. We're going to go crazy. Yeah, I'm always going to make sure something works. Yeah, to make sure I'm comfortable. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's really inspirational. And that's why I said, like, I love speaking to people about them as a person as opposed to more their work. Reason being is like, in essence, anyone can make anything useful. Like at the film or anything like that, right? With the right equipment, with the right people around you. But I think the huge component that is important to the whole process is that person and kind of their character and who they are. And I think a lot of the time when things haven't started the way that you want it to be, we kind of like, okay, that's it. Start is over. I'm 25. I haven't made it where I wanted to go. And this over, let's just basically cut my losses and just do a job that I don't really enjoy and just kind of ignore my dreams. And I think to hear that your kind of drivers are completely different, and in fact, the obstacles actually gave you more fire to push them even harder is an amazing thing. And that's what I think is so cool when I speak to people like yourself and you're kind of passing that message on to young people and other people in general, and especially whether they're young, whether they're older, because I know even like people are older in their career, well, older and trying to get to their career, but like, oh, it's past, it's done. And it's like, if you're still alive, there's still time to do something, right? Because you know so many people, Oprah Winfrey, just an obvious one, but loads of other people who started their careers later on and made that success later on. So I don't know, it just feels, I've said before, it's just something I feel as a creative, and especially as an FM minority in that space doing something, it's kind of like our duty to reach back and actually show a way forward because it's so difficult. So I'm saying this that because I genuinely really appreciate the work you're doing with that, because I think it's important and it does inspire people.
No, 100%. Thank you, Gavin. Yeah, man. Even you saying that, like, just ethnically, that I've sat at workshops and told them straight up, like, doesn't matter what ethnicity is in the room, or tell you, this is how black people, hard for you. Yeah. When you enter this space, even TV, I remember, like, sometimes that they said, I'll get a job, be happy I've got a job, and then have to think to myself, hold on, what's the creed going to be like? And I'm not one of those people. I'm not laughing at young jokes that I never find fun. Yeah. I'm not going to bend it. So it's like, and I've seen people be alienated. Oh, this person's different. I'm that's like, but just let them know you're real. Like, there's space for you to enter, but you're going to have to fight for it. You're going to probably have to do more work to be noticed.
Yeah.
but it's going to be hard for you in general. So if you want to be here, be prepared for that. Like, yeah, just have to let them know. But I didn't expect it, but it's realistic.
Yeah, because again, like I've had this conversation earlier about, Lincoln, which has come out recently.
Oh, yeah.
And the kind of controversy that's gone around with Cynthia kind of being erased effectively from the promotion of it as well. And it's happening to someone like her, Bella Bhutan, and that kind of profile. Navigating the media industry in the UK is difficult because even I worked at TV as well for a short while, and you are one of the few brown people in the room, and you are having to kind of police the way you are. And it's about how do you not even survive, but how do you actually thrive in that situation of being yourself and not losing yourself? And it's very difficult. So to have someone who's been through that and kind of done it successfully and authentically done that, I think is a huge feat. Like, I take inspiration from all the people around me who are doing it. So like Kieran and Jordan as well, run their own production company, things like that. Second year, renewed lease on their office on that. Bloody amazing, because it's so difficult to actually put your sort of footprint in the sand and actually would take you seriously and actually say, you know what, it's not about this, it's about the talent and everything that I've got bringing on, and my different perspective on how I look at stuff. I can bring something to the table that all the normal legal is going to can't
bring a white that way. Isn't it? It's important. It's really important because there's so many factors of, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? It's saturated.
Yeah.
It's very saturated and it's hard to be yourself. And I get it because on social media, it's easy for people to just come currently you're alien, you're this person, it's different. But guess what? Like, all the people that have made it somewhere are all the people that are different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you have to like, honestly, sit down with yourself and be like, okay, cool. This is my word. But my word is what's going to carry me forward.